Hello and welcome to another edition of IIABCAL Voices. I'm your host, James Lott Jr. And we're bringing you people who are in the industry here in California. But occasionally we have royalty. We have new royalty. He is the new president of the Association of Big I of California, IIABCAL, of IIABCAL. But he's also a principal at George Peterson Insurance Agency in Santa Rosa, California, which is up north. I know Santa Rosa. I'm going to say his name both ways because that's what I'm going to do. It is Bob Teshima and Bob Teshima. How you doing, Bob?
Doing great, James, and you're correct. That the first one is the correct pronunciation. Second, more anglicized here, but that's how my dad pronounced it. So
No. I want you to tell people that because I come from Japanese heritage myself, so I know how it's really pronounced. When people are like, "You're pronouncing it," I'm like, there's a reason. So just briefly tell us your father, and then they've decided to pronounce it this way, right? The American.
That's it. Father knows best, James. Father knows best.
Now, which is actually common from immigrant families. A lot of times they will anglicize their name or change or shift parts of their name or drop parts of the letters in their name. It's very common. So yes, I know how to pronounce it the other way too. So make sure I say it. So it's not me. Welcome to the show, Bob. Welcome to the show. And congratulations on the new presidency of association. How long have you been in insurance? That's the first. I just want to start from. We're going to start from the kind of beginnings. How long were you in insurance?
Since 1978, I entered the insurance business right out of college in Detroit, Michigan. James.
Oh, Detroit, yeah, Detroit. Yeah. Detroit. I just interviewed somebody else from Detroit, and they just rave about how it's really a big industrial city. Detroit. Now, what was your entry into? Because you were in college. Where'd you go to college? Where'd you graduate at?
Right, I graduated from Wayne State University in Detroit, Michigan, and young kid, right out of school, I needed a job, and I had a choice back in 1978, James, of going to work for the EEOC or the big Aetna, the Aetna Life Insurance Casualty, and I chose the Aetna, and it was a position as a property underwriting trainee at an insurance company, and though it didn't sound the most glamorous, but from what I saw at the EEOC, it offered a structure and a career path that and an opportunity to move to another part of the country, and it had an appeal to a young 20-something-year-old kid. So I knew absolutely nothing about insurance, James, other than at the time I had to have it in order to ride my motorcycle.
But wait, I remember talks. You had a motorcycle?
I did. I couldn't afford a car, so it was the motorcycle.
That's hilarious. And so, do you still ride at all? Do you still ride?
You know what? When I started dating my wife, I told her I wouldn't mind getting another motorcycle. And she says, well, if you do, we're not going to date anymore. So that's been 28 years ago, James, and I haven't been on a bike since.
Bikes are just side note, folks. I love motorcycles. They're dangerous. They're sexy. They're dangerous. They're fun. They're fun.
They are fun.
They're fun. That's really funny. Wow. Okay. So you chose Aetna. And what was their pitch to you? Kind of what was it that really grabbed you and said, I'm going to go this direction?
I mentioned that they offered to move me to another part of the country. It was a little bit different than that. They said in order to come work for the Aetna, I had to move. So single, fresh out of school.
Yeah.
And they said, we'll move you to any part of the country that you want, as long as we have an office there.
Wow.
So I had a choice of 3 different cities to move to. San Francisco, New York, Chicago were my 3 choices. My first choice was San Francisco. And after 10 months of training, going back and forth to Hartford, Connecticut, they moved me to San Francisco, March of 1979, and I've been here ever since and never looked back.
That's really that I've never heard of a job that was like, okay, you get choice, you move wherever you want. Normally they'll say either they have choices for you or they tell you where to go. But you actually got a chance to choose where. I mean, like I said, young, single, free to go wherever you want to go. You could have went to New York. You could have went to Chicago. You could have chosen One of those. So why San Francisco? Out of those three.
Years ago, I was kind of a reckless kid and got into a fight with my parents. And so my dad said, you stop seeing this girl that I was seeing or you can get out of the house. So I thought, well, okay, I don't want to stop seeing this girl, so I guess I'm going to have to leave. I went to my bank account, took everything I had out of my savings, bought a plane ticket to San Francisco when I was 16, bought a motorcycle, and loved the city. And we'd been to San Francisco before, James,
Yeah.
but my wife and I, we still live in the Bay Area, and over 40 years later, love San Francisco and the Bay Area and all that it has to offer. So we've never really gotten tired of being in the Bay Area, James.
Let me ask you, what is one thing about the Bay Area? Because you lived in other places, obviously. What is it about the Bay Area that you really enjoy?
Well, there's so many things to do culturally, entertainment-wise. You're stone's throw away from the ocean. You want to go up to the mountains and ski. You want to do boating in Lake Tahoe. There's such a myriad of opportunities to explore, to see, do things, whatever those things are. San Francisco is such a rich and diverse community, a little bit for everybody. And being a person of color, it's a little bit more welcoming than other parts of the country, James.
Very true. I lived in San Francisco for 16 years, so I do understand that. And also, large pockets of Asian communities throughout. From Pacific Islander to Chinese, Japanese. There's a bunch of Asian communities up there. I mean, that's another thing too. That's a great welcoming sign for you, also, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, it is. The only thing, where you live, it probably have better summers. I lived in San Francisco proper, so it was never warm. They didn't warn me that when I moved there. They're like, summers that come to September. I'm like, what do you mean? It's June. Why isn't it sunny? That's the only problem I had, Bob, when it came to San Francisco. It was kind of like my summers were foggy and cold. I never understood that. But then September, October, it was nice and warm in San Francisco.
Right. Well, Mark Twain's favorite saying, the coldest winter I ever spent was the summer in San Francisco. And
you ain't kidding.
A smart man.
He was not kidding. He was not kidding at all. I love that. Okay, so you were at how long were you with them?
Oh, about 5 years, a little over 5 years with the Aetna. And I moved to several different insurance companies before joining George Peterson, which has been, tomorrow it'll be 24 years I've been with the agency.
As we're taping this tomorrow, 24 years. Wow. Okay. So why George Peterson? After you've been there for years, as you reflect, why George Peterson?
Working, having the opportunity to work for an insurance company. I first was introduced to George Peterson when I was with the Aetna, so late 70s, early 80s, and a very comfortable, non-corporate insurance agency that I became friends with some of the partners and producers when we were all a lot younger back then. And my last company job was with AIG, and my boss, the president, George Peterson, Charlie Busman, calls me up one day and asked me if I wanted to come work for him. And at the time, my wife and I were living in the Oakland Hills. Oh, okay. And we thought, Charlie, I don't know, Santa Rosa, that's the middle of nowhere. But my wife and I thought about it. We had just had our first son. We're thinking about making some changes anyways. And it was, I don't want to say a leap of faith, but it was definitely something that even though it was insurance, the retail side of insurance, of the insurance business at an insurance agency is different than a corporation. It's got 40,000 employees.
Yeah. Well, that's why we like the the independent agents and stuff here, because a lot of the companies are smaller, very much they care about their employees, which we like to have that. It becomes like a family. When I was working for Insurance Skill Center, which I did out of San Francisco office for 10 years, when it was called IBA West back then. That's how old I am. No, it was a small knit group. We all knew it wasn't like just faceless names. I had worked at Morgan Stanley and Dean Witter back when it was called that, back in the turn of the, I won't say turn of the century, back in 2000s. That's like turn of the century. And there were people I knew, but it was such a huge, company. There was people I faceless names, you don't know who they are. And it's just it's a weird thing. But when it comes to a smaller, and you're still all being productive, you're working, you're working together, but you're working together. Isn't that kind of great? Isn't that great?
You're right.
You can actually lean on people, ask people for advice, whatever, they'll help you with stuff. That's what I like about the smaller agency. We should support the smaller agencies. They're doing their thing. So 24 years also of doing this, and 20 something years of longer of doing this, of course. Why do you think insurance, in your opinion, is a great industry choice for many people?
A good question, James. Well, first of all, individuals who have nothing other than a beat up old motorcycle have to have insurance.
Yep.
If you have assets secured by a note, you have to have it. If you have one part-time employee, you have to have insurance. The state requires you to have it. If you have a mortgage, if you've got a business doing business with other businesses, you have to have insurance. It's something which point is, insurance industry, it's bulletproof, James. It's recession proof. It's a business that guarantees that the opportunity to earn a living without fear of obsolescence. You think about some of these incredible companies over the years: Kodak, Sears and Roebuck, Blockbuster Video, Dow 30 companies, all of them, some of the largest in the world, are gone today. Insurance will always be a business that will endure in perpetuity.
Yeah, they say insurance, medical, obviously, transportation, so security, something like that. But what's funny is even all those need insurance. So it still goes back to insurance. Like all those other fields that are still kind of recession proof still need insurance. So insurance wins.
Absolutely. And another thing for, young people that may be, looking at this video, the careers that the insurance industry offers, it's not just underwriting or sales, it's claims, it's loss control and preventions, their systems, their technology, IT departments. The list is endless. And insurance in and of itself may not have the appeal for some young people, but the things that they offer and the careers that are available in our business, I think there's something for everybody, James.
Well, I did. So for myself, I handled education. I was education director for the CE for agents, but also I was the event management director. I also ran conferences within insurance. So he's telling the truth when he's saying there's different. And now I'm a podcaster in insurance. I left and came back, as I do both. And so I'm saying there is a world where it's a vast field. So chances are what you like to do quite possibly can work for you within the insurance industry, right? That's
absolutely.
Yeah. I think it's something to remember, that it's a vast field, folks. What is one thing you learned about yourself as in insurance all these years? You start looking back, because now it's time for you to look back a little bit. I realized an anniversary was coming, but as you look back, what is one thing about yourself you go, I learned this about myself while doing insurance?
I'm sorry, James, one more time, please.
I was saying, what have you learned about yourself? What's one thing you learned about yourself while doing insurance all these years? As he laughs, what'd you learn? Did you learn anything?
No, that's a good question. When I was younger, James, I always considered myself a bit on the shy side, not gregarious. Not the kind of person that's seeking Kodak moments or being, filmed like we're
Yes,
doing today. But I've found that in certain situations that I am someone that does enjoy being around other people. I enjoy talking with people. I enjoy the camaraderie, whether it be, at a business level or a social level. And it's something that I think I've just sort of grown into. I think over the years, because in our business on the insurance company side, as well as on the independent agency side, you're constantly dealing with people, new faces, and talking about different experiences that people have. It's probably one of the things that I've enjoyed the most about my career in this business is meeting new people.
I agree. I love it. No, I agree. I've met a lot of friends, and I'm still friends with to this day. That I met back in the 2000s when I was like in this. I mean, it's kind of we were coming on 20 years of friends. I'm like, that's a long time to know somebody, but it really is. There's a lot of nice people in the business that are just here to work and like just help like change the world. So that's really great. Well, that leads to now you being a part of IIABCAL, what do you think are some of the benefits? Off camera we've talked, we become friends as we do this whole process recently, but we're talking off camera. But on camera, what are some of the things you believe are great benefits of being a member of IIABCAL?
Well, there's so many, but a few of the benefits of being a dues paying member for IIABCAL for the past 30 years. Let's just say that there different stages of development in any insurance career. So as an insurance professional, education early on in one's career, very important. And some of the opportunities and offerings that being a member of IIABCAL has is something which a new person entering our business has access to resources, tutorial staff, people to mentor you. I think, later on, maybe in the second phase of your career, let's call it mid-career, IIABCAL provides other resources such as advocacy, legislative support that has a voice in state issues, raising awareness, to other types of businesses, introductions to leaders in the industry that can assist in this mid-stage level of your career. And in the later stage of your career, IIABCAL can help in preparing for retirement, sharing institutional knowledge for businesses with others, and paying it forward, James, teaching and training others that are in the other two stages of a lifespan of your insurance career.
I think it's a great point. If you become involved and you're for a while, there are different stages in your life that IIABCAL can actually help you along with. Advocacy is also a big thing. There's a lot of regulations and things coming up. You got to have somebody out there looking at them and reading about them and how they're going to affect you. That's very important. Education. I mean, education. I'm an education person. I mean, I was doing it when I was there. I think it's just very important. Also, networking. I mean, it's a great place to be part of an association. I believe in being parts of whatever field whatever field you're in. I always believe you should be a part of that premier association and just be part of it, right? It kind of gives some cachet, doesn't it, a little bit when you're part of something.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Well said.
I think that's what he did. Well, not just that, folks. He is the president now of the association. And I don't know if I'm correct or not. So correct me if I'm wrong. Are you the first Asian American president of this association?
somebody mentioned that to me recently, and I'll be honest with you, James, I hadn't thought of it, but I think you could be
Yeah,
correct.
it could be.
I could be the first Asian American president of IBACAL.
Well, either way, whether you're first or now, I think congratulations, number one. That's just good, and it shows people of color. It shows other Asian Americans in insurance. This is possible. You're putting a face to the fact that, because this is all, this is volunteer. This is giving back and everything. So please talk about why you enjoy this part of this process of the volunteering, giving back to the community.
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, I hadn't really thought of myself, as a person of, I'm stumbling around a little bit.
You're like a trailblazer, but you're not thinking of yourself that way, but you're like a trailblazer at some point. I mean, it's representation matters. Just seeing someone who looks like you in a position like this can open up people's minds. I mean, I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, I'm an advocate for this insurance community. It's members, it's policyholders, it's carriers, and in this position, you're not thinking about yourself as being a representative of any particular, religious, ethnic, racial group. You're a member of a community. It's a tight-knit community. Many of us, on the retail side, on the carrier side, it doesn't matter. Diversity is very important with IBACAL. We actually have a seat on the diversity council for the Big I, and it's important work that we do. Brandon Okita is our state representative, who also happens to be a person of color, happens to be a Japanese extraction, but it could be anybody.
Yeah.
And he does a great job for us, as does the Big I, in trying to be inclusive in the work that is done in the community.
Yeah. I just think, for me, I'm just saying it's nice to see someone else of color and just in hybrids, just because there's a lot of sameness. The thing is, we're in this business because you love insurance. You love doing insurance. It crosses everything. And you like doing it, but at the same time, you might have somebody, have some representation up there. I think I'll say it for you. But that's the whole point also, is that you said it perfectly. You care about just people in general in insurance, and to make sure that the industry everything's running well, that your independent agents are taken care of, companies are taken care of, that kind of stuff, correct?
Absolutely right. And, in our business, racial, ethnic, sexual orientation, religious, we as a insurance community are trying to be more aggressive, more proactive in serving the needs of various populations and communities, and whether it be BLM or API or, just what's happening, in the Ukraine right now. We certainly, want to be a part of all these communities, whatever they are.
That's a good point. And one last thing on that is I want to ask you about is, why do you think it's important to get involved in whatever industry you're in, like getting involved in volunteerism and stuff? Why do you think it's important?
Volunteerism is something which is so critically important in our society today, James. It's not just locally here, on a global level here, and there are so many ways of giving back to those causes that you have an interest in, a concern for, and whether it be insurance, whether it be feeding the hungry, we I think as a community need to be better citizens, human beings, and paying it forward. And sometimes it's not a matter of money, James. It's just a simple act of kindness. It costs you nothing to help, your fellow man. And the volunteerism sometimes can get lost because of the pace of life. The speed of life today is moving so quickly. Sometimes you don't you're not thinking about the welfare of others. You're thinking about other things that may not necessarily inure to the benefit of those that could use a kind word.
Yeah. I know. I always say people should be nice. Nice should be the norm. I say it all the time.
It's well said.
I say it all the time. I believe that. Any of your kids in insurance? Any of them in insurance?
No, we have one son here, and he's more interested in art animation and the gaming business here.
There you go. Well, Bay Area. Hello, the Bay Area. That makes sense right there. Like, it's Bay Area.
Right.
That's so funny. So it's not, so the insurance, sometimes it happens, so I'm just wondering, this leads to the question of, what are your thoughts on perpetuation and regeneration and like getting people into the business? I know it's not a glamorous business, but you and I both know it's good for family life. It can be a great steady business. It's as they said, bulletproof in terms of recession. So how can we get people to come in, new people to come in?
That's a great question, James. It's probably one of the most challenging parts of our industry today. Young people coming out of college, and down the road from us, we've got places like Google and Facebook and Twitter and these startup tech companies that have an appeal to this next generation of professionals that we're trying to attract in our business.
Yeah.
Perpetuation continues to be and attracting young talent. One of the single biggest issues confronting the insurance industry today. And it's not just on the agency and broker side, James, it's on the carrier side as well. How do we go about doing it? We'd like to spend time, on college campuses, with job fairs. We're encouraging schools like Sac State that has an insurance program to try to attract more people. We spend time, on college campuses, not necessarily just recruiting, but speaking to, the business classes about some of the things that we spoke about earlier, the types of careers that are available in insurance. I think that there's something for many people, but a lot of the youth, and I was one of them when I was 21, insurance just didn't sound that glamorous to me. But, here I am, 43 years later.
And that day over 22. Exactly. Bob, thanks for your time and congratulations on your new position with IIABCAL. Congratulations, 24 years at George Peterson. Congratulations on your marriage. Congratulations on everything. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, James. It's been a pleasure.
My pleasure. So that's Bob Teshima, or Bob Teshima, whichever way you want to say it. He is here. He's at George Peterson in Santa Rosa. If they want to reach you, if that means you guys going to do some business, if you want to reach you guys over there, where do they go?
Let's see here. I think if they wanted to reach out to me, IIABCAL has a website with not only my contact information, James, but the other volunteers on the executive committee. Jonathan Schrader, Martine Dominguez sit with me on the executive committee with IIABCAL. And then we have paid staff. Clark Payne is our current CEO, along with a host of others. Anybody that has an interest that wants to reach out to us, if they wanted to pursue a deeper conversation and dialogue about what it is that we do, please, we welcome them to reach out to us.
See, he did his job. That's IIABCAL.org. That's because he did my job. It's good for me. IIABCAL.org. Go there for that. These shows. This show is on every audio streaming service you can think of, from iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google, Apple, everywhere, under IIABCAL Voices or JLJ Media. And then the video, it's on my online network, which is, I'm going to make a second, this is JLJ Media, that's my name. I have over 35 shows. I have insurance, of course, but I also do farm and ag. I do left-handedness. I do Star Wars, do all kind of stuff. You can check out other stuff while you're there, but check out this playlist that says IIABCAL voices, a playlist of tons of videos of people in the industry who are wonderful. We're doing great things. Check that out. I'm James Law Jr., and we'll talk to you next time.